Okay, Toyota 4-cylinder thirds. We're going to weld this guy up and get rid of the one wheel peel so we can do some wheeling. This diff has already seen better days. I suspect it has a bad pinion bearing. Someone has been in here and obviously replaced the ring and pinion, but it's a little chunky. But demonstration purposes, this will do just fine. Now these ones are super easy. You can pretty much just get in there and scab this all together if you want. Or I've gone one step further and I am now producing these weld plates. I call these bow tie plates basically. This is the way that I do it. I have done it this way since day one and I've never had one fail ever in close to 20 years of welding these suckers up. One thing I can recommend is to not just weld the side gear to the case. Dissimilar metals are more prone to cracking right there. I've seen a lot fail because of that, and I've seen a lot that have not failed, so it's 50-50. I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So this has already been in the solvent tank. It's nice and clean. It's ready to go. If you're doing this with brake clean, use non-chlorinated brake clean so you don't die. First step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to weld up in the corners all the way, all four, before I drop my plates in. So let's get that done. Okay, a couple little tips here before we weld this up. I've got everything sprayed down with anti-splatter so that it doesn't stick to the ring gear and anywhere else. We're not taking this one apart, so I've got rags and stuff jammed down in everywhere to keep any BBs from going into the pinion bearing at the bottom and into where your axle splines are. And make sure that your rags are not soaked in brake clean from cleaning it up because they will light on fire as soon as you start welding. Here we go. Okay, so we've gone in, we've welded all four corners, top and bottom side. And honestly, if you did that well enough, that's probably enough to even hold up for a while. But let's go one step further with this. So this is where these bow tie plates come in that I am making. You can make them out of flat bar or whatever, but this is the easy route. They're already CNC cut, ready to go, drop right in. So that will fit down in here nicely. It's hot, it's hard to do this with one hand, so give me a sec. So there's the weld plate sitting in there nicely. We'll get that tacked into place and then flip it, tack the other one into place and burn them all in. And then another little tip that I do is I just fill these teeth in a bit more with some weld so it's all a solid unit and you can't just break that side gear. Another good tip is to make sure that if you're making your own plates, they don't go down too far, because if they drop in past where this axle shaft is to go in, you will not get your shafts back in the truck. And I had a buddy that did that in his front third, welded plates in it. They were too low and it stopped the axle from going in, and he only found out once he was putting all the front end back together in his truck. So don't do that. Here we go. So here's the bow tie plate fully welded in. You can see they fit nice. It makes it easy. You can weld all the way around. I like to build up the corners before I put the plate in it so you can attach the plate down to the gears in the corners. And then you can see that the teeth are open right now. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but I always fill them with weld and I've never had one fail. So I'm just going to continue doing it my way. So I'll show you that next. And there we go. Side gears are filled up. You can see that there's no voids in there now. It just makes them solid. That is now a brick in the middle of that diff. And it's not attached to the case at all. It's all just the gears welded to each other. So rinse and repeat on the other side. Fully welded the plate in, filled in the teeth here with some weld, give it some meat. I'm gonna get this all cleaned up now and we'll see what it looks like. So that's all cleaned up. If you do a good job with anti-splatter and your rags and stuff, you really shouldn't have too much to clean up. Not using flux core also helps with that. So we're pretty much at the point now where that's ready to go back in the truck. I'm gonna run it in the solvent tank once just to flush everything out. If you don't have a tank, grab some brake clean, get up in there, flush all that bearing out and clean it up. I find that part of longevity in these diffs is to make sure all your BBs and stuff are cleaned out so they don't end up in between the ring and pinion or sitting down in the pinion bearing. Helps. Next step that you can do to make these last a little longer in a wheeler is to adjust your preload a little bit more, push the ring gear into the pinion a hair so that you got less backlash and you get less shock load on the gear set. I'm not going to touch this one because it's already kind of mangled and I don't really care, but if you check out the V6 video that I did of welding these diffs up, you can see how much of a difference it actually makes while doing that. There you go. Go break it, go break your junk.